We're at the Museum of Making in Derby Silk Mill. Here, 300 years ago, the first stirrings of the Industrial Revolution were felt. And today, a new chapter in the building's life begins as the new Museum of Making. It's taken 8 years to build this new museum, and it really speaks to the soul of Derby as a city of makers.
I think Derby, we always talk about that manufacturing and innovation in our DNA. It is something unique about Derby, that it's been successful for 300 years because of manufacturing and innovation, and it will be for the future.
So thousands of people have been involved in making the Museum of Making. People have been involved from helping to recant and decant our collections. They've been involved in packing. They've been involved in doing research on our collections to enrich our storytelling.
The way we've approached making the Museum of Making has been about ensuring that it's relevant to our communities. And by doing that in co-production in partnership with those communities ensures that we co-design it, and it's been done iteratively through these phases over a number of years.
I'm a volunteer here. I've been here since the beginning of the remake project till the present day. As a volunteer, I've been involved in sort of ideation and the research and development of all the different objects and how we move around the museum, how the flow is.
There's no behind the scenes in the Museum of Making. It's a place where you can explore every element of the collection in a variety of experiences. And as you move up the building, you then come into this incredible space called the Assemblage, where it's an actual museum store, but is open to the public. So you can explore what would normally be totally behind the scenes as part of your visitor experience in coming to the Museum of Making. And it's an eclectic mix of all types of objects, arranged by the material, the most significant material they're made of. So you've got metal and wood and ceramics and synthetics, and it's a real treasure trove to spend a lot of time in and to dwell and come back and explore even more. You're going to see some really surprising things up there. An amazing representation of our partnership with Rolls-Royce is the Trent engine that hangs right in the top of the Civic Hall. So it's one of the first things you will see as you come into the Museum of Making. And it's a brilliant and interesting piece of technology in its own right, but it also sits above the Eagle engine, which is the engine that flew the first plane across the Atlantic in 1919, also made by Rolls-Royce. So the story spans over 100 years in this city, made by Derby people.
Rolls-Royce has been involved since the beginning, starting with being on the steering committee. We also donated the engine that you see behind me, the Trent 1000 engine. The team helped to install it. We are collaborating with Derby Museums on STEAM. STEAM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Mathematics. And that is a key part of what Rolls-Royce does with its outreach programs.
There's going to be loads of opportunities for makers and artists to utilise the Museum of Making in developing their practice. That could be through being a member of the museum itself and having access to the co-working spaces, access to all of the resources, and access to workshops where you can actually develop your skills or just have space to prototype a product you might be interested in making, because you don't have access to that as a small business. It offers also a community that you can come together with other like-minded people to explore and collaborate on new ideas.
You can use the CNC to make plywood furniture. You can use the lathe to make a turner bowl. You could borrow our metal work lathe for if you was repairing a car, for example, you needed some parts that you couldn't find anywhere else. We have metal cutting if you wanted to do some welding. In the other areas, we have a jewellery bench and casting.
But it's absolutely about representing and inspiring the modern maker. And those makers come in all shapes and sizes. And actually you can see some on the screen that's behind us, which are all Derby-based, Derbyshire-based manufacturers working in so many different types of materials, so many different types of skills, and so many different types of technologies that they are exploring and producing to make new things.
But there's that chance when people make stuff to objectify themselves. People don't sort of know who they are, in a sense, but they can see themselves through an object they've made.
We want young people to come to the museum and be inspired to learn more about engineering, technology, arts, and maybe one day become a maker themselves.
So for me, this museum, it feels like a trailblazer. It feels as though the notion of support your community to make heritage, to make museums, to co-produce museums with organisations has absolutely been realised here.
A place for participation, a place for people to do. So that think, feel and do, the head, heart and hands.
A place to enjoy space and time with other people, a space to learn about our industrial history, an opportunity to learn about the making of tomorrow, and a place for people to work as well. It just seems to tick all the boxes.
If you visit the Museum of Making, you'll be walking in the footsteps of giants. You'll be walking in the place where the Industrial Revolution took root. A visit to the museum is just as much an opportunity to learn, to make, participate, create, as it is to learn about the past. And by doing that, it will inspire you to be a maker into the future.